Hello and welcome to the U20 Alberta Provincials, brought to you by Gervais Academic Scholarship Foundation. My name is Kinley and I am here to broadcast the men's provincial final between Team Hiebert and Team Hlushak. Each of these teams came into provincials as the top two seeded teams on the men's side. Hiebert was seeded Team 1, Hlushak seeded Team 2. However, due to the round robin win from Team Hlushak and a followed up victory in the 1-2 matchup between these two teams, Hlushak has received the #1 seed for this final, and in doing so has gotten a hammer to start off this game. Each team finished the round robin at 6-1. Hlushak's only loss to Team Chris Mitsopoulos, and Team Hiebert's only loss to Peter Hlushak. Throwing lead stones for Team Hiebert is Braden Hine. With Team Hlushak's victory in the 1-2 game last night, that gave them an instant bye to the final, so they have been idle since last night, whereas Team Hiebert went through the semi-final and beat Team Channon in a very close match this morning. These teams have matched up several times throughout the season. This is their 8th matchup this season, with Team Hiebert leading the matches 4-3. However, Hlushak has won their last 3 meetings between these teams, 2 of them coming yesterday in the final round robin game and the 1-2 page playoff game. Throwing lead stones for Team Hlushak is Varric Depker. Team Hiebert decided to do a little more aggressive with the first rock guard on their first rock. Hlushak following up with a draw around, not quite bearing it around the center guard, and Hiebert will decide to draw around all of those rocks. Also on the ice today is the women's provincial final between Emma de Skiffert and Sierra Androzak. De Skiffert was the #1 seeded team coming into this event. They won their A qualifier in 2 games and had got an instant bye to the semifinal this morning, in which they beat Sophie Abs 6-4. Androzak was the 6th seed coming into this event, won their A qualifier in 3 games, and beat Reese Morrison 7-6 in an extra end game this morning in the semifinal. Both of the semifinal games were close right to the end, each coming down to the last shot. Both very interesting and very entertaining games to watch. All 4 of these teams playing on the ice today have earned the right to represent Alberta in the 2026 New Holland Canadian Under-20 Curling Championships in Sudbury, Ontario from March 28th to April 4th, so in just a few weeks here. These games are obviously for pride. You love to win your province, get to wear that heart and the blue jerseys. It will also determine who's Team 1 and who is Team 2 going to nationals. Both of these teams here on the men's side have plenty of national experience, both from U18s and junior level. There are some also who have represented other provinces at nationals. So there's plenty of different national experience and lots of experience to help calm these nerves of what will come in a provincial final. Throwing second stones for Team Hlushak is Lucas Sawiak. Not quite the shot Team Hiebert was hoping for on their last shot there. And now Team Hlushak is going to go open side and try and sit 3 rocks early in this first end. Throwing second stones for Team Hiebert is Nate Burton. Very unfortunate shot there from Team Hiebert, just taking on the guard, not really removing any rock and just moving the center over a couple inches. Not what they were hoping for that shot. Team Hlushak now has a really good opportunity to put lots of pressure on Team Hiebert here this early into the game. Nice shot there from Lucas. Team Hiebert's gonna have to put a little bit of work into this and try and get themselves out of this little sticky situation. There is still plenty of rocks to come, so there's still lots of opportunities for Hiebert to get out of this end. But so far it's been a very nice setup by Team Hlushak. Throwing third stones for Team Hiebert is Noah Mason Wood. Quite unfortunate shot there from Team Hiebert again as they jam their back red at the back of the house and now have 4 rocks in play to Hiebert's lonely yellow stone. Throwing third rocks for Team Hlushak is Sawhill Dalrymple, and as I mentioned in the introduction, there was some players on this team who have represented other provinces at nationals, Sawhill being the one who's represented New Brunswick before nationals, so this will be his first nationals representing Alberta. Team Hiebert's really got to move some of these reds out of play, so it appears the call is to hit and roll towards the center line and maybe even make the double on that back red as well. Unfortunately, they don't stick that rock, but they are able to make the double to remove 2 reds. However, Team Hlushak does still have 3 reds around the house and could put a 4th one on the side of the 8-foot. Not quite to where Team Hlushak wanted that rock. Does set up some type of double for Team Hiebert to remove a few more red stones here. Any roll towards the middle of the house here might prove beneficial for Team Hiebert. As you see an overhead view, as it is Team Hlushak sitting 1 and 2. It appears Team Hiebert has 3rd stone, and then of course shot 4 and 5 do belong to Team Hlushak. Really nice shot by Team Hiebert and Jaxon there. Does remove 2 red rocks, moves that side red over, and now Team Hlushak is only sitting that 1 rock. Team Hlushak does still have a good opportunity for a multiple here, however it doesn't quite look as bad for Team Hiebert as it did closer to the one the end started. Team Hlushak discussing some options here. They could hit one of the yellows if they'd prefer. However, that would leave Team Hiebert with a hit and roll off of either the one side 8-foot right now or where their shooter would roll based on if they hit the top 8-foot rock. It appears they've decided to play the tap, which is probably a safer call. A little moves our red rock into shot 2 and makes Team Hiebert make a little bit more of a difficult shot to try and prevent Team Hlushak from scoring their multiple in this end. Did float a little outside, didn't quite get as much of that top red as they wanted. Now gives Team Hiebert the opportunity to hit and roll underneath and maybe sit 2 and potentially force Team Hlushak in this end. A nose hit here too could also be quite a nice shot because it would block up both draw pass and would force him either to draw wide on the out turn side or maneuver that port on the in turn side if he decided to draw, or a more simpler shot could just be a hit and roll off of the shooter if Jaxon Hiebert is able to stick around. Looks pretty good here, on and off from sweepers. Really nice shot by Jaxon to sit right on the nose to sit 2. And from looking like a big multiple for Team Hlushak to now potentially forcing Team Hlushak, this is a good bounce back end. A good bounce back from the last few shots from Team Hiebert. They do have a few options here. They could play the same shot they tried on their first one with that tap on that center line red. They could hit and roll off the shooter Jaxon just threw. They could throw an out turn wide or draw, although this early in the game it could be a little difficult with not knowing the path out that wide. The easiest shot to me would probably be throwing the same shot you just threw with the tap, or playing a hit and roll off of what looks the easier rock would be the in-turn rock that Jaxon just threw. Like a small little hit and roll off that one seems quite simple, but appears like they have decided on the hit and roll on the out turn side. It does appear to be the hit and roll off the out-turn stone here. Looks a little wide out of the hand. Don't quite make the roll in, and it appears to be a steal of 1 for Team Hiebert. 1-0 Hiebert after end number 1. Welcome back to the men's final of the U20 Alberta Provincials. Team Hiebert managed to get a steal of 1 in the first end. I'd say they'd take that result after how the end was developing early on, but some nice shots from the back end definitely helped straighten it out and ended up with a steal of 1. On the women's side, Team de Skiffert was able to also steal 1 against Team Androshak, and they lead 1-0 after 1 as well. Hiebert electing to go into the house on their first stone. Team Hlushak decides to ignore it and will try and go for their 2. One important part of a very successful team is a very good coach, and both of these teams have some very strong, very well-knowledged coaches. For Team Hlushak, it is Byron Jago, and for Team Hiebert is Evan Asmussen. Team Hiebert electing to use their top 12 stone as a guard and to draw around, ideally top 4, top button. Not quite the weight they're hoping for, so it looks like they're going to try and set up a second corner, or second center guard, pardon me. Don't quite curl up enough, so it's a little staggered, but 2 center guards nonetheless. Team Hlushak is going to decide to follow, or go around their corner guard, pardon me, and try and set up a strong chance at their deuce. Line looked really good on that throw. Unfortunately, it just comes up a couple feet light. Does kind of set up a second corner guard. However, that port is a little narrow, so it could prove a little bit difficult to draw through later in the end. Team Hiebert electing to tap their top 12 stone, ideally right on the nose to raise it back towards the button. Looking to curl up as close to nose as possible. It's a nice shot by Nate Burton. Not quite the weight they were hoping for, so it doesn't quite tap it far enough, but a nice tap nonetheless. Team Hlushak electing to play the double and maybe roll towards their corner guard. Doesn't quite make the double, but does open up the center quite a bit more. It does sound like that red did roll in towards the house, so it does make Team Hiebert consider hitting that rock. Does appear to be in, so Team Hiebert's not going to take any risks here and just remove that stone, hopefully roll towards the center and maybe even into the house. Don't quite roll in, but they are able to roll out and kind of guard their edge 12 stone. But Team Hlushak will ignore that and go around their doubles corners. Not a lot of ice taken here by Team Hlushak, so they must have found a straighter spot in the ice, but good for them recognizing it early, because there are some times where it might take you an end or two, a couple ends, to really understand some paths in ice. So them understanding how straight it is could prove beneficial to them later in the game. Line looks pretty good on that shot, just comes a few feet too heavy, but does still bury their rock, and it appears to be shot stone back 12. Team Hiebert electing to follow that down, maybe even freeze right to it. Little wider line on this path from Team Hiebert and Noah Mason-Wood. It is important to recognize what your team's releases could look like, because there are times where your opponents might have a more positive or a more soft release, and following their path with your rock could prove a little detrimental because your rock won't track quite as well as their rock would, for example. So good recognition from Team Hiebert, realizing there's you need a little more ice on that rock to get to where Team Hlushak could put their first one. Nice shot from Noah Mason-Wood, but Team Hlushak will follow that down, try and freeze on top, potentially trying to get one under and hope for a little bit of a chap off on one of their next few shots. Nice shot from Saville. Pretty buried underneath that corner guard and top house. Makes it a little more difficult to remove. Team Hiebert electing to hit and roll off that corner guard and maybe even roll into the house here, opening up that top 8 stone. Pretty nice shot from Noah Mason-Wood there. Removes the guard, rolls over, and even chalks off their corner guard there and does roll in for what appears to be third stone. Team Hlushak has decided to go up and replace that guard, so put that kind of as a corner guard just off the center line. Guard that stone a little better. Really gotta go to get it over. They don't, unfortunately. Really big miscue there from Team Hlushak, and gives Team Hiebert a really good opportunity to remove that stone and sit 3, maybe 4 rocks late in this end. The scoring area is still wide open, so Team Hlushak does still have a very good chance of getting their point here. But all these biters could come back to potentially hurt Team Hlushak if a shot isn't made quite properly. So it's never a bad thing as the opposing team without hammer to have a few little biters around the house. Little wide out of the hand. Looks pretty good. Nice shot from Jaxon Hiebert. Does roll a little too far into the open. However, Team Hlushak is deciding to ignore it and will try to kind of put one top 4 close to being frozen on that yellow to make it a little more difficult for Team Hiebert to remove that stone. This also gives Team Hlushak and Peter himself an idea of what a potential draw for one could look like on his next stone if Team Hiebert is able to remove it. So this kind of gives him 2 shots at the jaw of the button for his 1, maybe 2, depending on where he places this stone. Looks pretty good. Sweepers are on and off it. Going hard now. The rock is really curling off that center line. Just a little misjudged there and comes up a little light. Team Hiebert with a really good opportunity now to put some pressure on Peter in his last stone here. To me, the best shot here would putting one kind of on center, pretty much right where Jaxon put his broom. Also wouldn't hurt to be a little bit deeper into the house to kind of take away that draw path. Putting one there makes a draw extremely difficult, and he could be potentially shooting against 4, maybe even 5, depending on where Team Hiebert's able to place this stone. But if they're able to place that stone right where Noah's broom is, it makes any score of 1 much more difficult. That was me. Sweepers like it out of the hand. On and off. Really nice spot by Jaxon Hiebert and Team Hiebert there. Perfectly managed. Lots of communication between the sweepers and Noah in the house. It's a very good shot, and will make this shot for 1 for Peter much more difficult. It's an important shot early in this game. He's going to try and navigate that port between that rock just thrown by Team Hiebert and their top 12 redstone that Peter threw on his first rock. A little wide and a little heavy out of the hand, but the rock does seem to be moving quite well off that center line. Really nice shot by Peter Hlushak for his 1. That's a nice game saver this early in the game. 1-1, tied after end number 2. And we are back with the men's final here in Leduc at the U20 Men's Provincial Championship. That was a very nice shot by Peter in that last end to kind of get his team out of some danger there. Get his team as 1 and move on to the 3rd tied. In the women's game, it was a big steal of 3 for Team Hiebert over Team Androshak to take a 4-0 lead after 2. Team Hiebert electing to play this one a little more open by throwing this draw towards the wings. Trying to get off that center guard there. Nice sweep to get it off. Nice throw. Pretty much where they wanted it. Peter deciding to ignore it. Is going to go around their center guard, put a little bit more pressure on Team Hiebert, and probably play this end a little more aggressively. Trying to go hard for that steal and maybe, if not at worst, a force. Two really nice shots by Varick in this end. A perfect guard followed up by a perfect draw around. Jaxon, realizing it's in a pretty good spot and doesn't want to leave it, decided to play a little come around tap just to move that rock out of that scoring area. Heavy sweeping there from Nate. Just a little outside. Unfortunately, a hair too much weight and does chap off, giving Team Hlushak a very good opportunity to sink another rock right on that little pocket formed by those two stones. Not really being touched by the sweepers. It's not always not a great sign as a thrower. Not too bad of a shot there from Team Hlushak. Does leave that red a little exposed and could give Team Hiebert the opportunity to hit and roll underneath. Seem to like it, on and off, kind of close. Really nice shot by Team Hiebert, perfectly rolled on top. Open enough too where they could chase it and try and play a tap to remove that red, but overall a very nice shot by Team Hiebert. Peter, realizing there's a few too many yellows around, deciding to play a hit and roll off that side yellow, try and sink another red one kind of under those pile of stones there. Curl all the way. Just a little too thin there and does roll out. Team Hiebert, excuse me, electing to place aggressive and sink another one kind of top 8, top 4 on top of their yellow. Realizing they have a good opportunity to put some pressure on Team Hlushak here. Sweepers seem to like this rock. Not quite where Team Hiebert was hoping that rock to go, but it does still leave him a chance. A couple taps, maybe even a soft weight run back to get to that red. It's unfortunately not quite frozen what they were hoping for. One thing that yellow does do is kind of guard that back yellow, kind of back 4. So this does give Team Hlushak an opportunity to come around and freeze to that back one and kind of play a little bit more pressure on Team Hiebert if made really well. Going all out on the stone. Just touches that red or yellow, pardon me, unfortunately. Team Hiebert electing to go up and play a little hit and roll over about a rock, kind of leaving it open so they could potentially make a play at that top button, top 4-foot redstone. Curling it all the way. Pretty nice shot from Noah Mason Wood there. Doesn't quite get the roll under they wanted, but does still leave him a rock that he can use and work with pretty well. Team Hlushak appears to be playing a hit and roll of some sorts just to kind of move some of these yellow stones around. Maybe open something up to help them force or maybe even steal in this end. Really nice throw there from Saville. Does kind of jiggle around 2 yellows. However, it does potentially set up a double on those reds if Team Hiebert can get to pretty close to nose of that red rock. That guard is somewhat high and could give them a chance to get to nose, although you would also need a little bit of weight to remove both of those reds. But you could definitely still make a very effective shot with a softer weight by just moving some of those reds around, changing around some of the angles. Sounds like they're playing like a board or a bumper weight, so a little bit of softer weight just to kind of ensure they get to nose, which I do like, because some teams might feel like they can throw a little bit more weight, like an easy, like a medium, like a somewhere in the 9 to 10 range, but you might not be able to quite get to nose as well there. So I do like the softer weight choice. Not necessarily remove all of these rocks, but definitely move them around, set up an angle that might help you later in the end. Nice shot by Team Hiebert. Appears one of them did just touch the stone a little bit. Not bad at all for Team Hiebert. Doesn't quite get to nose like they were hoping, but it does move the angles around, and they do sit two on skip stones, so it's not a bad situation for Team Hiebert at all. There is still an opportunity for Team Hlushak here to potentially weld one on, or even a hit and roll under is still definitely a possibility. Appears they've elected to go with the kind of freeze tap type shot here. If made well, it could be a little difficult to remove just with a few of those catchers at the back of the house there. Does sound a little heavy. Sweepers don't want to touch it very much. Looks pretty good. Really nice shot from Peter Hlushak there. Appears Team Hiebert is electing to throw a little bit more weight at this, just kind of blast it, get some rocks moving, and open up that scoring area a little more. Does seem to be tracking a little. Definitely moves some rocks around, so not a bad shot at all. Does appear Team Hlushak is still shot one. Team Hlushak has a couple options. They could try throw something on the injured side, try and bury a piece underneath that top four, although any kind of chap off on that could leave a pretty simple double for Team Hiebert. They do seem to be looking on the other side of the sheet with kind of a freeze, maybe angle it a little better on that shot stone. If they do that, it could prove a little difficult to remove both those stones for Team Hiebert, and could force him into a tough shot where he has to flirt with that top 8-foot red when trying to remove this potential shot stone. Sweepers do seem to like it pretty much the whole way down. Going hard now. Really want to get it by that top red. Just don't, unfortunately. Although it doesn't end up in a bad spot. I don't believe a nose double gets them shot. A nose double would leave a pretty close shot for two. I'm not sure if they'd be able to roll in quite enough for their second, but it would definitely secure them at least their one. Hard right out of the hand, on and off. Ooh, it does appear it is only for the one, but a very nice shot nonetheless. Believe that top 8 stone is second shot. Just one yellow as Team Hiebert takes a 2-1 lead after 3. And we are back for number 4 in this provincial final between Team Hiebert and Team Hlushak. So far, it's been a very well-curled game from both teams so far. Both teams have had their opportunities early in and end, but haven't quite been able to capitalize on their chance for multiples. That was mostly because some very nice skip stones from both teams. Their teams working well as communicating with it, whether it be a draw or their hits. There's a lot of very good communication going on, and it's turned into a very good curling match so far. Team Hiebert deciding to go top 4, top 8-ish, and Team Hlushak deciding to ignore and put up another corner guard instead. As on the women's side, Team Androzhik has a nice bounce back end and is able to get 2 back after that steal of 3 and 2, and Team Hiebert now leads 4-2 with hammer after 3. Good sweep from the sweepers there to get that over the hog line. It's a very high corner guard, so they might want to throw a second one behind it just to help make it a little more effective. Team Hiebert appearing to go with the tap on this shot here. Just a little out there, trying to get as close to nose as possible. Nice shot. Just didn't quite get up to nose on that one, but still a very nice shot nonetheless. Team Hlushak deciding to ignore both those rocks in play. Decided to put like a tight guard, top 12 biter guard, just to kind of give a second layer of guards there while also maybe biting the house. Super seem to like this one quite a bit. Just bites the house in a pretty good line with their corner guard. However, with that corner bar just being so high, it does leave that stone still a little exposed for Team Hiebert to hit and maybe roll towards the center line. Looks maybe about a third to a half rock open, leaving a chance for Team Hiebert and Nate Burton to make that hit roll. Really nice shot there from Team Hiebert, and Nate rolls it towards the center. Kind of staggers those two top 12, so there isn't really a double on that shot stone, but does give Team Hlushak a good opportunity to make that double and roll back towards their corner guard. Don't seem to like it a ton on that one, but nice, make a nice double. Sits there kind of right on the nose, giving Team Hiebert the chance to hit and roll back, kind of protecting that shot stone. Seem to like it, on and off. Nice shot there, rolls in a little bit. Does appear that shot stone is still wide open. Team Hlushak now has the option of whether they want to hit shot stone or whether they just want to ignore it for right now and try and hit and roll off that top one. Does appear they've decided on the shot stone and try and sink it a little bit under that yellow shot rock that Team Hiebert just threw. Seem to be on it the whole way and just kind of rack on that top one and do roll out. This does give Team Hiebert a good chance to throw up a good tight center guard it completely, and make Peter and Team Hlushak chase that stone. Looks pretty good out of the hand. Sweepers are a little cautious on the weight there, but it's a pretty good shot. Maybe a tiny bit deeper than they were hoping, but still a very good shot. Completely guarded. Is forcing Team Hlushak to play the run back. Does connect on the run back, but the shooter does just spill only about a couple feet to the left. It is open in the port though, so it very easily could be removed on the later shot, but this does give Team Hiebert a chance to draw around, maybe kind of Christmas tree it in a way, although that path might be a little more difficult. But this does give Team Hiebert a good chance to kind of sink another one under that red center guard. Sweepers seem to like it. Good communication between sweepers and Jaxon in the house. Just trying to bury it as much as I can around that center red. Pretty nice shot there from Noah Masonwood and Team Hiebert. Peter does have the opportunity now to play that hit and roll on that shot stone, but they do recognize that that red center guard is still a dangerous rock for them and have decided to once again play the run back. There's a little more space to connect on this run back as there's 2 yellows in the house now. So let's see what they can do. Very unfortunate result there from Team Hlushak. I'm not sure you could make that if you tried it again. Very tight port to maneuver, but sometimes that's what happens in curling. It's a good opportunity for Team Hiebert now to throw up that center guard once more, kind of block off both shots. They are spread out enough to where I believe Team Hlushak will have a shot to make something on his next one. Jaxon can't take away both, but he can put a rock in a fairly decent spot to where it makes any shot Peter wants to throw a little more difficult. Team Hiebert electing to put one kind of just biting center line, really tight, kind of similar line to the top red guard, maybe a little deeper. Sweepers haven't touched it yet. Does appear to be a little heavy. Sweepers have not laid a broom down on it yet. A little bit of a miscue there from Team Hiebert. Definitely didn't want to go that deep. Still a good shot. No triple there for Team Hlushak, at least I don't believe there is. But I think Jaxon would have preferred to have that rock a few feet higher just to kind of take away any little port on that Team Hlushak might have to hit that shot stone. It appears Coach Byron wants a timeout. Oh, and there you go. Peter finally notices. This is still a good situation for Team Hiebert. Hitting 3 on skip stones is never a bad situation. Team Hlushak could very well make a hit and roll off that shot stone, but I believe Team Hiebert would have a shot on either one of their yellows to tap or raise it onto any shot stone that Peter puts behind those guards. I do like the over roll where they're saying it kind of roll towards their side red there, but I don't know if there's enough space to get by that top 12 shot stone that Jaxon just threw to be able to roll over that far. Appears they've elected to play a hit, some type of hit on that shot stone. Try and roll in any amount they can. Hard right out of the hand. Really nice shot there from Team Hlushak. Looks pretty buried underneath that red corner guard and his shot stone. A very nice shot by Peter. Team Hiebert now has a couple options. They could play that tap on the one they're talking about right now. I don't know if there's any type of a chase behind that red. It appears to be perfectly buried. So it appears they're playing some type of tap / raise on their yellow to outcount that shot stone. I do like this turn a little more because that corner red definitely did make that shot a little more difficult. You have to skinny by that red and that top 12 yellow stone. So it appears they're just playing a tap on their yellow to move up to shot. Does appear a little tight out of the hand. Sweeper's going hard. Yeah, just overcurled a little out of the hand and never really had a chance. Getting in for a second stone could be a little more difficult here, although the outturn kind of draw around that corner guard is still there. And that is what they're deciding to do. This will be a pretty big deuce heading into the break if Team Hlushak can make this shot. After 4 on the women's final, it appears it ended in a blank, so it remains 4-2 to Skiffert. Just beginning 5. Supers are going hard on this stone. Just comes up a sliver light, only ends up being 1 red. A little bit of a missed opportunity there for Peter as we head into the break, tied at 2 in your men's provincial final. And we are back with the second half of our men's provincial U20 final between Team Hiebert and Team Hlushak. It is 2-2 after 4. It's been exchanging singles for the first 4 ends, but that's not to say there hasn't been a little bit of opportunities for both teams. There's been a couple chances at some 2s, but some nice shots, some missed shots from both teams. And we're stuck here at 2-2 heading into the 5th end. Team Hlushak electing to throw up that center guard. If they can get to the center line. Oh, they might have just touched the center line there. Either way, Team Hiebert elects to go to the wings and will draw open side. And appears that they would like to put this end a little more open and a little more simple. Sweepers don't really want to touch it. It's coming down quite nicely. Nice shot, just back 4. Seems to be some type of discussion with the umpire there. Not really sure what's going on here. Something with the time clocks, maybe? It appears as if there's something going on with the time clocks. Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe they started before the end or the break timer finished and the timer was unsure what to do. Either way, it seems to be solved. And we're back to throwing rocks. Team Hlushak is deciding to ignore that side 8-foot Yellowstone again, and it's going to draw around their center guard. Trying to get it completely buried. Nice shot there by Varick. Team Hiebert's gonna follow right down, try and freeze tap that redstone just thrown. Oh, very nice sweep there from Noah. Just get it by the rock. And a nice shot there by Team Hiebert. That's a good team shot right there. Nice sweep from Noah. Nice shot from Braden. Nice call from Jackson. And then there's Nate. Team Hlushak appears to decide to draw around the outturn side now. Kind of corner frozen on that yellow stone, still thrown, or just thrown, pardon me. Looks pretty good. It's a nice shot there. 5 really good shots to start this end. Team Hiebert electing to throw the in-turn freeze on that side, on that red just thrown. Pretty much the exact same shot Braden just threw. Pretty good shot from Nate there. I think they might have liked maybe a couple inches more curl, but that's just being picky. That's a pretty good shot. Team Hlushak, again, is going to follow it up with the outturn freeze on their own red, I believe. Rock appears to be a little heavier. It's a good shot. Comes up maybe a foot or two lighter than they were hoping. Does still give Team Hiebert the chance to remove that red stone top 8. Curling all the way. Pretty good shot there. Does remove it far enough to sit 2, 3, 4. Didn't quite stick the shooter, but I don't think that was quite the main focus of that shot. Still isn't a great angle on that shot red for Team Hiebert, so Peter, realizing that, has decided to freeze another one kind of right on top of it. Make Jaxon and Team Hiebert kind of figure out a way to move those rocks off the button. Sweeping pretty much the whole way down. Just squeaks by the top red. Doesn't quite get second shot, but good shot nonetheless. Does give Team Hiebert essentially the same shot they just threw. Maybe you want to stick this shooter around and maybe just push this red kind of side 4, side 8 to maybe give you some type of in-off towards that shot stone. Curling it as much as I can. It's a pretty good shot. Does stick their shooter, does pop that red wide open, so they do have some type of access to that shot stone, albeit it would be quite a thin double. But Team Hlushak does have another opportunity to just do the same shot they were tried on their first one. Just kind of freeze right to it. Changing their plan a little bit and deciding at least discussing to throw up a guard, kind of blocking off that side of the sheet. It does appear that's what they've decided. This is definitely a good call. It's a safe kind of guard against a big shot call, which I do like in a game like this. I believe it does get out just enough. Guards inside of that red rock, which was their plan. I believe Team Hiebert is going to throw pretty much the same shot for a third time in a row. This time I believe they're going for the tighter one to try and get to that shot stone. If they touch the top one, I'm sure that's okay too. Not a lot of weight, so just a little tap to kind of put their rock to shot. Quick switch up there, and very nice shot from Noah there. Good line call from Jaxon, good sweep from the sweepers. Team Hiebert does lay one, although this does give Team Hlushak a somewhat thick in-off or double, and it is there. It does require a little bit more weight. A good shot here could put a lot of pressure on Team Hiebert to try and get rid of 3 reds within that 4 foot. Some rocket here from Peter. Looks pretty close. On and off means pretty close. Gets it out for shot 2, but I believe yellow is still shot 3. Team Hiebert could throw the same shot again, or they could probably get close down to that red if they wanted. It appears they're playing the tap on that yellow stone. After 5 in the women's, Team Skiffert is able to score 1 and make it a 5-2 game, playing 6. On and off from the sweepers. Just not quite enough weight there from Jaxon, and Team Hiebert does give Team Hlushak a really good chance at a steal here. They do have a couple options here. They could hit that shot stone that was just, or that shot rock, pardon me, the shooter that was just thrown by Jaxon Hiebert. They could throw up a guard against any type of draw or tap on that side. They could try and out-turn draw around and maybe try and sit 3 and put a lot of pressure on Team Hiebert. It appears they're electing to go with a guard, which is definitely probably the easiest shot. Sweepers seem to like it out of the hand. Seem to like it, just kind of want it to stop. The Team Hiebert does have a couple shots here. That is a shot call. They do also have a tap situation on the rock they threw on their first one. This one you're hitting fairly thick with a little bit of weight to just push that yellow sideways right onto the button. That appears to be what they are calling that heavier weight kind of slash sideways. A big weight shot here. Hard all the way. Really nice shot there from Jaxon Hiebert. Great way to score their one. And after all of that, Team Hiebert gets one. Very nice shot by Team Hiebert. 3-2, Team Hiebert after 5. And we're back with end number 6 here in the men's final between Hiebert and Hlushak. A very nice shot by Team Hiebert there to finish off end number 5 to take a 3-2 lead. The scoreboard does show 5 singles, but they've been some very impressive shots to score those singles. With that shot there in 5, Peter's really nice draw in 2. Both teams had some very nice shots to score their single points in these ends. It appears Team Hiebert is elected to go into the house with this first stone. If they can get it there, go, go. And they do. Good sweep. Team Hlushak yet again is going to ignore that stone and throw up another corner guard. It's kind of been their strategy with hammer. Sweepers just easily sweeping it. Looks pretty good out of the hand. Good corner guard there by Team Hlushak. It appears Team Hiebert is going to draw around that top 12 one, kind of use it as a guard. Sweepers seem to like the weight. Does seem to be a little out there though. It's really got to curl up there. Pretty good shot with the weight, just doesn't quite curl up like they were hoping. Team Hlushak can take advantage of that and play hit and roll off of that top 12 rock and try and bury it under their corner guard. Trying to curl it over towards their corner. Just end up nosing it. Team Hiebert right away. Going up there to kind of hit on the nose, kind of put up a little bit of a center guard if they nose it. Hard all the way out of the hand there for Team Hiebert. Good sweep there by Noah. Rock ends up as a pretty good center guard. Team Hlushak is changing gears and is going to play that hit and roll underneath that center guard. And if they wanted to, I'm sure they could overroll it a little bit and try and get closer to their corner guard as well. Appears a little out again, trying to curl it up. Rolls a little away, not a bad shot at all. But does give Team Hiebert a good opportunity to try and make that hit and roll underneath their center guard. After 6 in the women's final, Team Androzek is slowly clawing their way back with another 2. It is now 5-4, Team de Skiffert with hammer. Trying to curl it up to roll it under. They roll a little bit, just not quite far enough. Peter yet again is going to try the exact same shot. Tighten up this a little bit, trying to ensure they can get that roll underneath. Sweepers haven't touched this rock, indicating it's a little heavier. Still a little hot and does roll out. Team Hiebert is now electing to go up and peel that corner guard, accepting that this will probably most likely end up in a blank. Nice peel there by Noah, and Team Hlushak continues to play a little aggressive and will decide to draw underneath that center guard. Looks pretty good. The sweepers seem to like it. Truly diving towards that center line. Just get it by. Good sweep by Lucas. Nice shot. Perfectly buried. Does give a nose run, pardon me, for Team Hiebert. Curling, try and get to nose. Makes it. Does roll open though, but a very nice shot nonetheless. Team Hlushak does have an opportunity to make that hit and roll underneath. On and off the whole way, it must be close. Does roll very well. Does appear to be a sliver open, but I do believe Team Hiebert is still going to play the run back. Hard right out of the hand. Looks close on and off. Curling now. Gotta get it out. Do they get it out? It appears to have just rolled back at that end there. Unfortunate roll on the shooter there too, because it leaves a corner guard perfectly guarding that back red. And now Peter can sink one underneath. And all of a sudden, Team Hiebert has to be a little cautious about a potential three. They seem to like the shot the whole way down. Does come a little deep, so if Team Hiebert does prefer, they can follow them right down and take both of those shooters away. However, it does have to be pretty perfect, because any bounce off would give Team Hlushak a chance to remove it and get three. An important shot here in the sixth end for Team Hiebert. Going hard line early. Just tight out of the hand to get to the, do end up racking on the corner guard there. Does give Team Hlushak a free draw at three. Sweepers seem to like it the whole way down. They got the whole house to find. Going hard to get it there, and they have, it's a big 3 points for Team Hlushak to go up 5-3 after 6. And we're back with the 7th end of this men's provincial final. Team Hlushak with a big score of 3 there in that 6th end. Now lead the game 5-3, playing the beginning of the 7th end. Team Hlushak here is going to want to keep it very open. Nothing crazy. Don't want to take any crazy risks here. Whereas Team Hiebert will probably try and set up a corner, maybe even 2, and try and go hard for that 2 and maybe even see if they can manage a 3 out of it. Little bit of a mistake there from Team Hlushak there. Up to this late in the game, you probably don't want to be throwing up corners, or pardon me, center guards, as they could be rocks that Team Hiebert could use later in the end, but Team Hiebert decides to ignore that one and will throw up their corner guard. Really trying to curl that one across the center line there. Definitely not quite as far out as they would have hoped, but it is a guard they can use. The Supers haven't touched this one. Just kind of watching it go. Kind of the worst feeling as a thrower. There's not much you can do with it. Does bury it, but it is back 8. So it could prove as a catcher for either team later in the end. Team Hiebert is going to try and use their center guard pretty much and draw around it. Sweepers seem to like it the whole way down. They'll try and bury as much as they can of it now. Really good sweep there to curl that one off, both off that red center guard and buried behind that yellow. Team Hlushak is deciding to follow it down, kind of corner freeze, give them side pivot access to remove that rock on the later throw. Does sound like it's a little heavy. Trying to get off that center red. Just tick that red. Does roll it on. Not too bad of a shot. Opens up the center a little bit. Team Hiebert now has a little bit of a decision whether they want to go behind their red corner guard or if they think they can get deeper around their own yellow. It appears they've decided to draw around the out-turn corner guard. Sweepers seem to like it. That very tight to the guard, just thrown a little too heavy there. Team Hlushak is electing to peel/run back this yellow. And he makes it very nicely done. Does leave two corners up, so Team Hiebert does have an opportunity to try and sink another one around one of these two corner guards. A lot more room on this one here. Trying to go hard for weight. They do get it in, however, it is third rock, so they have to find a way to remove those two reds to bring that shot into play. After 7 in the women's final, Team de Skiffert responds with a 2 of their own and goes up 7-4, playing 8. Team Hlushak deciding to go around all of these rocks and put a little more pressure on Team Hiebert. Very nice draw around. Is slightly open, but that's okay. Team Hiebert deciding to follow that rock straight down and kind of corner freeze to it. Sweeper's going hard on this one. Sounds like it might be a little tight. And a little light, maybe. They do split and roll in for third shot. Not much hesitation there from Peter, as he just knows he's got to remove any yellow rock that really comes into play now. Sweepers haven't touched this one. Trying to curl up there at the end. They get rid of it and they roll out. Not a bad shot at all. Team Hiebert will try again to freeze on that red top four. This one looks pretty good. Sweepers look pretty happy with it. Don't want to bounce. Just a slight bounce, but a pretty good shot. I don't know if Peter can get to the inside to remove it and not kill that redstone. He does believe he can get it. I think he's okay with removing that redstone as long as he sticks his shooter here. Right on it out of the hand. They do kill the top one. Not a bad shot at all either. Team Hiebert now has a decision to make. They can try that hit and roll and try and hope they have a shot for a couple on their last. They could play something on these yellow-red combo in the forefoot, but you'd have to be careful to not set up a double. It appears they've decided to draw around that in-turn cornered red to sit third shot. Peter will probably follow that down and remove that yellow, and Team Hiebert was just hoping there'll be some type of double for them to score there too. Got lots of room on this shot here. As long as they sit for third shot, this should be an okay shot. And ooh, that's close. I don't believe they did. It is very close. Either way, Peter's gonna go up there and remove that yellow rock. think at the very least, those two will probably come down to a measure if those rocks stay to count for something. Well, now it's for sure second shot yellow, so this gives Team Hiebert a fairly simple hit on the nose for their 2. I'm sure they'd be happy with this result going into this end. I think Team Hlushak wouldn't be too upset with this. Being tied with Hammer in the last end is never a bad situation to be in. Hard out of the hand. Hard all the way down. Great sweep there from Nate just to keep that from not touching that back yellow. And Team Hiebert gets their 2 back. And we go into the last end of the provincial final, tied at 5. Team Hlushak with Hammer. And we are back here in the eighth and final end of this provincial final between teams Hiebert and Team Hlushak. Both these teams have worked their entire season to be here in this moment. And what better way to end it? Tied, last end, all the marbles, 8 stones each. What a great way to end off this provincials. Team Hiebert's strategy here is pretty simple. Throw up some center guards, try and steal their point. Team Hlushak's goal here is pretty simple. Avoid letting Team Hiebert steal. So nice first guard thrown up by Team Hiebert and Braden Hine. Team Hlushak is deciding to play aggressive and put some rocks underneath those centers. If placed well, could be a little difficult for Team Hiebert to remove them and eventually sit there 1. Sweepers have backed right off. Does also appear a little wider than they were probably hoping. Not a bad shot since it is wide open, but I think Team Hlushak would have probably preferred that to be a little closer to the center line as well as above the tee line. On the women's side, final score 7-4 for Team de Skiffert. And Team de Skiffert is your U20 Women's Provincial Champions. Like I said at the beginning of this match, both of these teams will represent Alberta at the U20 New Holland Canadian Championships in Sudbury, Ontario. So congratulations to both those teams on a great season. I'm sure they will represent Alberta very well. As for the men's game here on our feature sheet, not ideally where Team Hiebert would have wanted that second guard. It is a fairly easy double peel now, but unfortunately for Team Hiebert, it does seem pretty simple to make. Team Hlushak, of course, can't peel that rock until their next one, though, so they will continue to put those stones back underneath those two guards. Team Hiebert with a interesting shot call, but I don't mind it at all. Just trying to separate those rocks a little bit because, like I said, it is a fairly gimme double peel for Team Hlushak. So I think their goal is to kind of separate those rocks, push one of those two rocks a little further down the center line, and create some separation so that it wouldn't be quite as easy of a double peel for Team Hlushak. Does seem like a lot of weight. It's not as bad. It does change the angle a little bit on that double peel. It still is fairly easy, but does maybe add a little bit more difficulty to that shot. Nice double peel there from Peter Sawiak. Sorry, Lucas Sawiak, pardon me. Peter Hlushak. Team Hiebert has a couple choices here. I do believe that the right call would be just to throw a center guard in line with those reds. Kind of use that first red rock thrown by Team Hlushak as some backing for later in the end, whereas one of Jackson's two rocks, pardon me, could be kind of frozen on that corner, potentially forcing Team Hlushak to a little bit more difficult draw for the win. I believe we'll see a lot of guard and peels for the next few shots until we get to at least thirds stones, second stones maybe. Often you see at this point, you'll see teams kind of just throw away some rocks and, like, in a way, throw up a guard, have it peel it, just kind of waste some rocks and have it come down to the last couple skip stones of the end. Both teams with plenty of time, of course. Team Hiebert with just over 4.5, and Team Hlushak with almost exactly 5 minutes. So there's no rush for either of these teams, so they'll have lots of time to discuss and figure out how they want to finish off this game and this end. Sweepers are kind of cleaning it all the way up. Good center guard there. Does touch that back yellow, pushes out of the forefoot, a very nice shot. Does appear to still be second shot, but I don't believe that'll come into play. Team Hiebert electing to draw freeze to that back red now. I would be tempted to maybe throw one more corner or center guard up here just to give them less opportunity to try and deal with it, but this is definitely a very reasonable call here too. I believe they just changed their call to the center guard, which I believe makes a little more sense with just how many rocks are still left. It does appear they did change their call. I do like this call a little more, just to waste one more rock. Give Team Hlushak one less chance to try and remove the rock you'll potentially freeze to that back red. Team Hlushak's strategy here is pretty simple. If they throw up a guard, you're just going to peel it. If they come down to your red perfectly, you can see them either try and freeze back, but more likely than not, you might see them run that top 12 red just to kind of blow up the whole house and leave it wide open for them. Now Team Hiebert's going to go in and freeze to that back red. Some people might be wondering why they wouldn't throw up one more guard and do this on their last stone. But more likely than not, if Team Hiebert were to throw a center guard here, there's a good chance you would see Team Hlushak go up and throw a rock underneath that center guard, top 4, top 8, top button, pretty much making it extremely difficult for Team Hiebert to get a rock around that center guard and get that stealing point in there. So now this is their true best chance, because with the guard, Team Hlushak would just take away any scoring chance around that center guard. Sweepers seem to like it. Line looks pretty good. Number is 16, so it does appear it might be a little short. Not a bad shot either. Now an interesting decision for Team Hlushak. They could play that red run and just kind of remove remove a few rocks if they wanted. They could also throw what Peter was indicating first with that rock top 8 right where Sawhill's broom is. Kind of block away any type of draw that Team Hiebert might have. They do have one more timeout, so they are going to use it. I do like that draw right where Sawhill put his broom down there. It does kind of take away any real scoring opportunity Team Hiebert could have, because they'd have to draw around that pretty tight and try and bite majority of the forefoot there. And if he was to be successful with that, it would be a fairly simple run back for Team Hlushak. However, you do have to be a little careful with that stone. If you do ever bring it deep, you give Hiebert a chance to freeze to it and potentially steal away the game. If you ever came up late, it could serve as a guard, giving Hiebert another chance to draw around it, but it does appear they've decided on that run back, which is probably the safer call. Opens up the house a little bit more. Very nice shot there from Peter. However, he does kind of leave that top red 8-foot stone as somewhat of a guard for Team Hiebert to draw around. It may not look like it, but it does, like whoever shot out of these two rocks here could be important on an occasion where Team Hiebert draws behind that red rock and Peter runs it back and spills out all the shots involved, all rocks involved in that shot. And then the shooter would come down to whichever one of these is shot. From that angle, it looked maybe like it was yellow, but again, if it came down to those two rocks, I'm fairly certain it would be a measure in this type of situation. I think the best spot for here, for Team Hiebert, would be kind of back 4, maybe back 8 if you need to bury it a little more, just kind of right where Noah's broom is. Kind of right in that area. Try and bury it as well as you can. Force Peter into a tough draw or run back. An interesting shot here called from Team Hiebert here is they've elected to hit this stone kind of on the nose, maybe a smidge roll in, and I do believe it could be because Peter has thrown multiple kind of hard, heavyweight shots in his last few shots between here and the last one in 7, I believe, and they're gonna bank on Peter missing his draw for the win instead of playing it a little deeper and forcing him to a tougher run back. Hard right out of the hand. Just tight out of the hand, and that will be the game, folks. Team Hlushak is your 2026 U20 Alberta Men's Provincial Champions. As mentioned before, both these teams who played in this final, a very well played final I must add, will be representing Team Alberta at the U20 New Holland Curling Canada Olympic Curling Championships, pardon me, in Sudbury, Ontario in just a few weeks' time from March 28th to April 4th. Both of these teams will be there, as well as both women's teams on the women's side, both Team de Skiffer and Team Androshak. So congratulations to all 4 of these teams on a very well played season. Congratulations for all 4 of them making nationals in Ontario in a few weeks, and best of luck to all 4 of these teams at those nationals. That is all for me today, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the very good curling match we had the privilege of watching, and I will see you guys later. Thank you.